So 3 months ago I started traveling full-time. This is my third country now, and by far I think this is my cheapest month of traveling abroad. So living in Southeast Asia, there's a very common misconception that, well, everything is cheap, and that's somewhat true, but when I was living here about a year ago, I could easily spend about $1,500, if not more, per month. And now that I'm living here in 2021, where there's still not that many tourists, the prices of everything have just plummeted down. And I think I haven't realized how affordable it is to be here right now until I've started writing out my monthly expenses for the month. So in today's video, we're gonna be going through these 7 expenses plus an additional one for you guys at the end. Now, if you guys see me looking down, it's because I'm looking down at my laptop to see the actual cost breakdown of everything. So starting off number 1 with accommodation. So if you've seen my very first video here in Bali, you'll know that I'm currently staying at a place called the Wave House. It's not really a hotel or a villa, but really a collection of private rooms in this villa compound with these beautiful pools. I can't recommend it enough, honestly. I love the place. The only downside really is that you don't have a private kitchen. It feels almost like hotel rooms, but my monthly accommodation cost for December was $418.57. Now, this is actually a very good price because my actual accommodation cost for this place, the Wave House where I'm currently staying at, was $372. Now the additional $46 actually came out to when I visited the cliff. You might have seen that video, I'll link it right above here. It was absolutely beautiful. We went out to the southern part of Bali in Uluwatu, where we just took a day trip out there just to get out of Canggu area and see something different for a change. And so that's where the extra $46 came from. But if you take that away, my monthly cost was really $372, which is extremely affordable for Bali, seeing as you can easily spend over $1,000 on a private villa. Now, going into transportation costs, getting around Bali is very easy. If you're comfortable with a scooter, that is something I highly recommend you guys do. The total monthly cost for transportation was $73.77. So most of that was my scooter rental. I have a Yamaha NMAX. I pay 1 million IDR, which is $63.29. The extra $10 came from gas. Gas is really affordable here in Bali. You can spend maybe $2 or $3 for gas each time you fill up an empty tank, and that'll last you about a week, even if you're still making trips around Bali. It's very affordable to get around, and if you're not comfortable with the scooter, you can always rent a taxi or even a Gojek or Grab. If you're not familiar with Gojek or Grab, it's an app on your phone that you can request a driver and they'll come pick you up, and that'll cost you $1, if not more, just to go one place. Moving into grocery costs, I really didn't spend too much. It was $33.88. Most of that's really coming from me going to the grocery store to buy drinks, sodas. As you know, I really don't cook at home that much, and being that I am living here where there's no private kitchen, it's not really convenient for me to go out to a grocery store and buy food for an entire week when I don't have a fridge. I mean, I have a small little mini fridge which can hold just about a few drinks, and that's really about it. So groceries aren't really a convenience for me right now. Maybe if I did have a villa, I'd be spending more on grocery costs, but as you're gonna see, my dining out costs is gonna be a lot more than my grocery costs. Now, dining out in Bali is super affordable. Typically about a year ago, if you would go to a cafe, you'd be paying Western prices about maybe $6 to $10 US for a meal. But now because of COVID, there are a lot of promotions and a lot of deals going on around cafes and restaurants. A lot of them are doing 50K promotions, which is 50,000 IDR, roughly about $3.5 US. So now even if I wasn't to go out to a local warung, I'd still be paying really affordable prices at a cafe or a restaurant. So the total cost for my dining out at restaurants and bars was $212.85, which I'll take honestly. So my total food costs was less than $250, which is incredibly affordable. I think I could have spent that in an entire week in the United States. But if you do plan to go out, eat street food, or go to a local warung, you'll probably expect to pay anywhere between $1 US to $2 US. Cafes, maybe $3 to $6. Any Western restaurants, expect to pay about $10 to $15 US for a meal out there. Phone plans and data. I think Bali is one of the most affordable countries aside from Vietnam to have a phone plan. And the company that I do use here in Bali is called Telkomsel. It is by far the most recommended and the one that has the best internet speeds here in Bali. So when you first come to Bali, you will need to get a SIM card. So if you head into any Telkomsel shop, you can get a SIM card for about $10 US, which is 150,000 IDR. And at that price, you get not only your SIM card, but I believe like 15 gigabytes of data. It's pretty crazy. So that alone will last you an entire month. And after the 30 days, that data does expire. So every 30 days, the data doesn't transfer over, unfortunately. You have to renew the data every single month. And for me to renew my data this month, it cost me $7.20, which is pretty cheap. And I'm getting basically 4G data all across the island, except for Uluwatu. We did have some issues in Uluwatu because we were situated right on the cliff near the ocean. So we did have some slow speeds down in the Uluwatu area. And last but not least, it's going to be the miscellaneous costs. So this is anything that really didn't go into the other categories. I did want to touch on a few things though to break down this section. The first of which is massages that I have gotten quite a few times since I've been here in Bali. Massages, you can really go as affordable as $5 US for a 1 hour massage, anywhere up to $20 US really. So last month I spent about $5 US going to a cheap spa. It was a 1 hour massage. It wasn't the best. You can also get in-home service for $7 US. I haven't gotten that one out, but I've seen quite a few times some of the guests here in the Wave House, they have ordered a masseuse to come out here because they have a massage room. And this month I actually wanted to go on a bit of the expensive side just to see what that would cost and how much better it would be, and it was quite a bit better than the cheap massage, of course, as you might assume. So I spent $18 US on one massage this month, and that is about as much as you would pay here in Bali for a massage. Now, the second part of the miscellaneous cost that I did want to touch up on is the gym costs. So I don't have a gym membership because I don't really know when I plan to go. So I just simply show up at the gym and get a day pass. The cost of that is $1.80. It's quite affordable actually if you think. Also, my haircut, it costs $5 US this month. You can get a haircut as cheap as $1 US here in Bali. And the last part of my miscellaneous cost is my laundry. The laundry services here in Bali charge you anywhere between 5,000 IDR per kilogram up to 10,000 IDR per kilogram. I mean, that's basically 50 cents to 72 cents per kilogram. It's really affordable. So there's really no need for a washing machine here in Bali because the laundry services here are just so convenient. Now, the final cost for the entire month living here in Bali during the month of December in 2020 cost me $776. Now, this cost actually might be a bit misleading because it is during the time of COVID when there are not that many tourists here in Bali still. And this cost actually doesn't include flights into Bali as well as visa costs, which you will have to take into account. Now, the last part of this video, I wanted to compare my Mexico cost of living compared to Bali. So if you haven't seen my Mexico cost of living video, I'll link it right up here. But comparing my accommodation costs in Mexico to Bali, in Bali it was $418 and in Mexico it was $574. So it's quite a little bit more in Mexico for me to live there for 1 month, because I did stay in about 3 or 4 different accommodations during the entire month, whereas in Bali I'm staying at only one place, so I'm getting quite a bit of a discount instead of me just hopping around from Airbnb to Airbnb. Transportation costs, of course, are going to be cheaper here in Bali, $73 compared to $111 in Mexico, because in Mexico you can rent a car or a scooter or a bicycle, but in Mexico it's a bit more expensive, because where in Bali you can rent a scooter for $73, in Mexico it's $35 a day to rent a scooter, and the price of a car is just about the same actually. Comparing grocery costs from Bali to Mexico, $33 in Bali compared to $59 in Mexico. Pretty much the same, because again, I don't do that much grocery shopping, and in Mexico I only had to grocery shop when there was a hurricane coming in, which happened 2 times. In Bali it's just because I needed some sodas or some drinks and some quick snacks to purchase for me to eat at home. Restaurant costs, which is a bit interesting. Mexico, of course, definitely more expensive, $328 compared to Bali of $212, but really not too much to my surprise. Only about $100 more in Mexico. And in Mexico I went out to a lot of the beach clubs in Tulum, but most of the time I was going to local restaurants eating tacos, quesadillas, and more of the local foods. So very similar to Bali, where I'm eating at local warongs and street food markets as well. And the last part is phone and data. Comparing the two, they're very similar, because Mexico I spent $25 for a SIM card and data, where in Bali I'm spending only $7.20 just for data. So that is an entire month of costs here in Bali, Indonesia. So if you guys are planning on traveling to Bali in 2021 when the borders reopen, or if you're coming in on a business visa, this is what you could expect to pay. Now, of course, my costs are probably going to be a little bit different to what your costs might be depending on what your lifestyle is. So it's just something to consider. But one thing I didn't cover in this video that I did in my Mexico video was entertainment. And I didn't cover it in this video because I actually didn't do too much as far as tours or any excursions here in Bali, because a lot of the entertainment costs is going to be either waterfalls, hiking tours, or cooking classes or stuff like that, and I didn't do any of that this month. But if you plan on doing any tours or excursions here in Bali, if you're doing ATV tours, water rafting, hiking Mount Batur, or doing any cooking classes, you can expect to pay roughly about $50 US. So it's not too expensive, but if you plan on doing just simple waterfalls, that's only going to cost you about $3 or $4 just to enter a waterfall. It's pretty affordable. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, give it a like. Comment down below any questions you guys might have about living here in Bali at the moment, and I'll do my best to answer them. And I will see you guys next week. Peace.